Today's episode of Transqat is available as an audio-only podcast. This is Transqat, a safe space to stand. Transgender issues, queer people, respectful conversations. I'm host Claire McCarthy. Welcome to Transqat. Welcome to what will be the final episode of 2025, and oh, am I ready to see this year in the rearview mirror. I am not a fan of the holiday season, and the news in the last few weeks has only amplified my stress level. I'm recording this on December 26th, and it does not look good for Congress approving extension of the ACA subsidies. Without these subsidies, my premium will quintuple, which means, very simply, that I will be without health care for the time being. That's not good news for someone whose mental health depends on her HRT and her Lexapro. 9 days ago, the House of Representatives approved a bill to criminalize gender-affirming care for trans youth. Under this bill, which was shepherded by someone who has publicly expressed belief in demons, space lasers, and QAnon conspiracy theories, healthcare providers convicted of providing life-saving care to their patients will face up to 10 years in prison and hefty fines. The day after that, the health secretary and the director of Medicaid and Medicare held a press conference.
This morning I signed a declaration. Sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria. These procedures fail to meet professionally recognized standards of care. Medical professionals or entities providing sex-rejecting procedures to children are out of compliance with these standards of health care. This declaration is a clear directive to providers to follow the science and the overwhelming body of evidence that these procedures hurt, not help, children. Additionally, CMS is proposing two new rules. The first rule will bar hospitals that participate in Medicare and Medicaid, which is almost every hospital, from performing these dangerous and harmful procedures. The second rule prohibits the federal Medicaid dollars from funding the sex-rejecting procedures on minors. Furthermore, HHS is also moving to reverse the Biden administration's attempt to include gender dysphoria within the definition of disability.
Sex-rejecting. Nice euphemism. Allow me to retort with a quote from the Roman philosopher Seneca the Elder.
Hello, YouTube. This is Creighton Burnett from New Orleans. You f***ing f***s.
Oh, sorry, wrong clip. That was John Goodman. Also this month, the FDA announced that it has sent warning letters to 11 companies that manufacture and sell chest binders, giving them 15 days to reclassify these products as Class 1 medical devices. Now, it's important that we not start flailing and spinning out of control. Taylor Greene's bill is unlikely to pass the Senate. 19 states are suing HHS over its latest absurdity. And the attack on binder companies, that's going to get laughed out of court. And that brings me back to today's episode, Voices of Pride, Part 2. There is joy in pride. There is community. And maybe there's hope. I don't know. But let's start this with my friend Iris, a.k.a. Paul the Intern. was a lot of energy.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Sounded incredible.
Thank you. That band, Whatnot, was just so much fun to play with and to sing with, and I actually met them this morning.
Really?
Yes. So Shanita Razor got me in contact with them and just said, hey, if you'd like to sing one of your songs live with the band, we'd love for you to do that. Connected me with them. We met this morning, practiced in a basement, and then came here.
Wow. So you did 2 numbers while you were here. Actually, I forgot. This is bad hosting. Please tell people who I'm talking with.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Iris, or you may know me as the Deluxe Iris as well.
The Deluxe Iris?
Yes, the Deluxe Iris on Instagram is where you can find my profile.
All right.
If you'd like to follow.
Not to cast shade on any other drag performers, but I don't know of any who do their own music, who sing.
Well, I think that there are a lot of drag artists who do live sing, and I think that more drag artists are being more comfortable about live singing. However, I actually started to dip my toe into drag already as a person who sings.
Right. We had worked together on Prism's Big Gay Cabaret
That's
evening,
exactly right.
So, yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. So, I grew up an annoying theater kid, and, I'm also in school right now.
Are there other
and working.
kinds?
No,
sorry.
Not exactly. But yeah, so then I started going to school. I started my internship with Prism Counseling Center, and I just doing full theater productions wasn't necessarily in the cards.
Yeah.
And so I started to try out drag a bit as a different art form. It's something that I can just kind of prepare on my own and bring it and do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to have other people rely on me in a full big production. So I really love that aspect of it. And it also kind of helps me embody these other characters and these other female artists that I just love and respect so much.
Well, performance is all about being in somebody else's headspace
Absolutely.
for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So what does being Iris bring to you that if you were in full theater production, if you were Prospero, if you were Juliet,
Sure.
wouldn't that be wonderful? I would come see you as Juliet,
That
by
would
the
be
way.
so much freaking fun, Claire. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like Iris, for me, brings... she's kind of like the red carpet star that Paul never was. And so she just likes to dress in her gowns and look lovely, or as lovely as she can anyway. And she just kind of brings an additional level of confidence that I don't always have as Paul.
Well, I was going to say, is there overlap? Is there bleed? Do you find that, because you got a huge round of applause up there, but does that then give Paul more confidence in his life, or do you kind of keep them separate?
Well, to an extent, I do try to keep them separate a little bit. However, I do feel like that there is overlap between Paul and Iris, mostly in Iris's sense of humor, because I feel like that just, that's not going anywhere no matter what.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of my interests still come through as Iris, and especially as Iris, there are ways for me to express my interests through the art of drag that I'm not able to do just as Paul.
For people who might not, who might be hearing that word art and thinking, no, it's not. They're wrong.
Sure thing.
But B, tell them why. Why is drag an art form?
It's art because it's this beautiful expression of oneself, and even if you are putting on a character, that in itself is art, right? The paint, the makeup, the hair,
right.
The lashes, or however someone wants to express their drag persona. You could be a drag king, you could be a drag creature, drag queen, an AFAB performer, and I mean the list goes on, right? And to discount any of those options as not art is just, I mean, it's ignorant.
And it is time tested and proven. I mean, it's not like drag is some newfangled just because the anti-drag laws are within the last couple of years. This has been part of the community forever.
Oh, it absolutely has. I mean, you think of Paris is Burning. You think of even Mrs. Doubtfire, right? So, that in and of itself is also a drag performance. People don't necessarily like to think of it that way because they think of it as, a family-friendly movie, but drag is also family-friendly, right? So, I mean, there's just... so many wide varieties, and this goes back forever.
Wait. So that means when you drag performers do like a story hour in a public library, you're not there to convert people?
Oh, absolutely not.
Really?
No.
Not
They don't
at
let
all.
us. No.
Not even like a little bit of converting people to.
No, and I personally have never done a drag story hour for children, but that's because I can't read. So
We could work on that, you and I
Thank
together.
you, Claire.
We could,
I would
I'm
much
here,
appreciate
I
that.
am here for you, Iris.
Thank you.
I've got
Thank
your
you.
back.
But yes, drag story hours, there's such, what better way to get children and the youth and people who have maybe thought about attending one of those events and haven't before, what a fantastic way to just open your eyes to the wonder, the beauty. Drag artists are so great bringing those characters in those books to life for these kids and getting them engaged in the story and excited.
Absolutely.
Nothing about conversion.
Okay. A serious question before we go. You, in your Paul life, you work with trans youth.
Yes.
What are you hearing? What are you seeing in this painfully difficult time?
It's horrifying right now, to be brutally honest. It's a really, really horrifying time for trans people, trans kids, queer people in general. And people are afraid, they're angry, they can't believe, and I can't believe that it seems like we're taking so many steps back. And a lot of folks seem incredibly brave to say those quiet thoughts that they've had for the last, 4, 8, 10 years. Now they're saying all of those things out loud. And it's really, really dangerous, especially when they're so misinformed.
Yeah.
We're talking about people's lives. And that's something that we have to cherish, that we have to protect. And we can't do that without one another. And that's why Madison Pride is such an incredible and important event. Just all of the representation, all of the community. Can't ask for anything more than that.
Thank you, my friend. I love you. I'm so glad I got to see you perform today.
Thank you so much, Claire. This was a pleasure. Thank you.
This episode of Transqat is sponsored by Prism Counseling and Support, LLC. Prism is a counseling practice in Killingworth, Connecticut for the LGBTQ+ community. They offer individual, group, couples, and family therapy services. At Prism, clients of all ages are welcome for in-person and virtual sessions. Most insurance is accepted. What makes Prism unique is that they offer much more than just mental health services. Their mission is to support, advocate, foster community, and educate. So here you'll find skill-building workshops, community events, field trips, and professional development workshops for organizations. You can visit Prism on the web at prismcounselingct.com. That's prismcounselingct.com. Just one L in counseling. Or you can email Devin, Devin, at prismcounselingct.com to make an appointment. Describe for our listeners what your t-shirt says.
It's got a big rainbow on it, and it says, "I'm so gay, I shit rainbows."
Which got me wondering whether that would be, sort of more or less of a discomfort than the usual bowel movement.
Well, actually, I would think it would be a little bit more magical of a bowel movement.
One would hope.
There should be some glitter and rainbows and, some fun.
I don't think I want glitter near that part of my body. But I'm thinking at the very least, if you shit rainbows, there wouldn't really be a need for toilet paper. I'm thinking that a rainbow would just kind of take care of itself.
Well, have you ever actually tried to chase a rainbow?
No.
So I have. There are pictures.
Wait. So are we talking like the movie Twister, where you're in a vehicle trying to...
Actually, I looked out the back window at my family's farm, and the rainbow was coming down in the back of the pasture, and I just said, I gotta go get it. And I just ran out the door in the pouring rain and was leaping through hay, if you can imagine. It kind of looked like a gallop. And then when I got to where it was laying
It should have been.
Yes, it was now up in the next field. So the thing about rainbows is the experience of shitting them, I would assume, is actually it just keeps going away, so you never have to wipe.
Which is kind of what you want from that.
My name is Mel King. I am from Cheshire, Massachusetts.
Ooh, what has changed is from what you've seen, from what you've experienced?
The first couple of prides I ever went to were more rally. It was more speeches, a lot more, let's keep things in our community. Over time, it became more fun, a lot more performers, a lot more entertainment, a lot more dancing, a lot more comfort.
So there's celebration as well as...
Absolutely.
And I see, as I've done Pride events this season, I'm seeing a lot of, bringing it back to the T-shirts, I'm seeing a lot of T-shirts with that message of, the original Pride was a protest. And that notion that in this moment, we need to step up.
We absolutely do. There has been more of the original feeling coming back. We need to stand together. We need to unite. We need to tell people we're not going to bend over and take it. And it's very necessary to get back to that now. Yes, there's always going to be the partying. Yes, there's always going to be the dancing and the drag queens.
What would Pride be without drag queens dancing for us? Come on.
My favorite thing about Pride in general, and this is just like all Pride, not just gay Pride, just all Pride, is that it is a celebration. And there is a lot of passion involved in it, whether it's from love to standing your ground, standing up for what you believe in. Pride is just one of those things that I needed when I was a kid. I grew up here in the Berkshires, and there wasn't a lot of that. So I actually moved to Northampton for 20 years. And Northampton was where it was at, where I could walk down the street and nobody pulled their kid away from me. I could be myself, and I could
Northampton is either infamous or worshipped as a safe zone for them.
When I went there, I told everybody, I said, I moved to a gay mecca, and I love Northampton. I ended up moving back to the Berkshires mostly because my grandmother had passed and my father needed help cleaning the house out, and then I fixed it up. My wife and I got together, and we've now been married for 5 years.
Congratulations.
And we got kids, all the fun, normal, quote-unquote normal things that everyone aspires to. For me personally, coming back to my roots and seeing how much it's evolved since I originally left is immaculate. We didn't have Pride. It was still new, So now seeing all of these events, you got Berkshire Pride, you got Lee, you've got North Adams, everybody is getting on the bandwagon, and I feel good. I work for an amazing company where I'm actually kind of one of our faces, and it's nice to work with clients who contact my boss after I go do a visit. They're like, we love Mel. Does Mel have any preferred pronouns? We don't want to offend. And I this is amazing to me.
Yeah.
This place has changed so much.
It's that dialogue. It's that when they can see past the pronouns and the labels and just see, that's Mel. Mel does a hell of a job for us, and we appreciate it. And that's really all that matters.
I, in the past, worked for companies that kind of wanted to hide me in the background, so I've had a lot of you do a great job, but, we kind of don't want you to interact too much with clients.
Yeah.
And so that's also a great feeling, to have a place where I work, where I love what I do. I love the customers that I work with. All of our clients are amazing. I feel like it's a big family. And when I go to work, I don't ever have to look over my shoulder.
Sure, Claire. I'm Tom Schofer. I live on Cape Cod and coming back to Middlesex County, where I was raised. After 49 years ago, this month in this town, coming out as a member of the LGBT community and allies. I'm real happy to be here. It's really important now more than ever putting a real face on things that people don't always understand. It's so hard. And the violence against trans and LGBT people is heartbreaking. No one with a harder soul could support the hate that's out there.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody agrees that Connecticut and Middlesex County is no place for hate.
You started to say before that you have experienced when you were younger that violence against queer folks.
Yes, I attended the late Xavier High School freshman year after going to St. John's here on Main Street, the other end of Main Street. And I was beaten pretty much every day, bloody, locked in lockers. They would shove me into a locker and close the door and leave me there. One or two kids on the football team protected me.
Really?
Until I could get out of there. But I literally had to leave school freshman year. But then I grew 2 feet, became captain of the cross-country team, head of the debating team, went on to college, got scholarships, succeeded in my field, both in the arts and business world. I've been in the top 10 to 20% of my field for 30 years. And I'm coming back to the town I was raised in.
Those are the stories that we need to share. You and I are pretty close in age, but also the younger generation needs to hear that there is a life ahead of you. There is success. There is happiness. There is fulfillment.
It gets better.
Yeah,
it
to
gets
coin a
better,
phrase.
To coin a phrase, and it's a wonderful phrase. When I first heard it, it was quite amazing. And to know the amount of allies that are out there, people like my friend, your dear friend Carrie and her family. They're the family the family that abandoned me were made up by the friends and the allies.
Well, it's family of choice, yeah?
Family of choice.
Do you find that it's easier to find allies these days? I mean...
Yes, because they will identify at events like this, and they'll be here and supporting businesses with their hard-earned money. Not everybody here is LGBT. There's loads of wonderful allies and open-minded people who will protect anybody who's beaten down for no damn good reason.
Yeah.
It could be anybody.
We need allies.
It can be the homeless, it can be the disenfranchised, it can be the handicapped, it can be the trans, it can be the furry kids. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's wrong.
I'm LGBTQ+, I'm bisexual. I'm a big supporter of the trans community, and I'm also autistic, and I have earplugs in because this place could be a little too loud for me, so...
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, people have made fun of me for being attracted to men, and they think that it's stupid, and they think that I'm a weirdo. They've called me like sissy, and they think it's weird that I like to hang out with girls more, that I get along with them more.
So what grade level are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
And I don't think we did this before we started rolling, but tell us your name.
Cal.
I'm sorry that's happening to you.
I just feel comfortable when I'm here because it makes me feel better. I've also had a big problem with our president, Donald Trump. I'm really angry at him. See, he's really against trans people, and he thinks that's weird, and I can't believe everything that he said about Zelensky. You don't have the cards. You're gambling with war. Don't tell us how we're going to feel. You're gambling. This isn't poker, dude. Like, I'm tired of that, and I want justice for our community, and as people should know, our community is very outspoken. So what I am saying is the war's got to stop also with Gaza and Israel, and what they're doing is just unthinkable, and I want to express that I am proud to be my community. People have considered me as a freak of nature, so I just...
You are not.
Thanks.
You are a remarkable person. You're wearing a Whitney Houston t-shirt, which means I love you even more.
Well, I love you too.
My name is Madeline Alia. I'm currently interning at S.J. Bryant School. I also have a TEDx Santa Cruz talk called How to Create a Safe Space, and a chapbook of poetry out called This Is My Body, Poetry of a Teen Trans Femme.
When you say that you're interning with J.S. Bryant, what sort of work are you doing?
I'm helping with their murals. I'm drafting up ideas. I'm exploring the space. I'm getting a start on the painting alongside the other members of the Bryant family. I'm having a blast.
My name's Alex. My pronouns are she and they, and I'm the admissions director of the J.S. Bryant School. We are about to open September 2nd, and everything's kind of coming together at once. So the facilities are looking really good, the enrollment is coming along, and we're having a really fun time at Pride, season this month. going to all the prides in the area.
What are you hearing from the incoming students and, equally importantly, from their parents?
From the incoming students, we hear a lot of sobering stories of great difficulty in their current school environments with harassment, bullying. The students, many of our students are afraid to go to school, and so they're just kind of hanging out at home as a safe space for them right now. So we do hear that, and we also hear that there could be a lot of non-accepting, not only peers, but unfortunately administration. However, we also hear from the students how thrilled and excited they are that we exist.
Yes.
You know, their whole face lights up, and we've had some jumping up and down. You know, what a tremendous thing to have a school specifically designed for the LGBTQIA plus community, and to be in a place with their peers and also with adults who can also mirror their own experience.
What would have been different for your high school experience if you had had something like this?
I went to an incredibly queer-accepting high school. It's in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay.
And it tries so hard to create a safe and welcoming environment for its students, but it is such an uphill fight. The teachers are spread so thin, and hope is spread so thin, because with the way things are going, there's just a hint of desperation in the air, in all things, behind that loving and accepting community, which is a subtle motivator for almost all of its decision-making. This school is good fun, and it exists from necessity, because schools like Cypress need room to breathe. And then you have so many big schools where they're packed. The small schools which are doing this have barely anyone, and the big schools are packed together like sardines.
Alex, we have talked before about the fact that we're going to do a whole thing in the fall. We're going to do an episode, possibly more. Tell folks how to reach out to you.
We have rolling admissions, so anytime you reach us is a perfect time. We have a website, www.jsbryantschool.org. It's a fantastic way to learn about all our opportunities for volunteering. We have a newsletter you can sign up for. Our admissions page tells you all about how you can contact us at the school. Actually, I'm just alex@jsbryantschool.org. So reach out to me, and I would be happy to answer any questions that families have.
Well, I've been in the middle of a rewatch of Blue Eye Samurai.
It's
an animated. Well, it's anime-esque. I know that one of the creators has an English first name and a Japanese last name. It's about a samurai who is a woman of mixed race. And when I first watched it, I thought it was. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I read hers mask, and now that I'm on the other side of recognizing that I'm trans, I've realized how feminine she is and the ways that she does things to compensate for the fact that she is feminine. So like instead of she basically can compete with the guys because she's done so much practice and work and played out every option. She basically, her thing was to learn all of the fighting styles so that she wouldn't be taken by surprise.
What brings you to Pride today?
Well, it's my second Pride.
Was the first one...
First one was Nashua Valley.
Right.
I just moved to Massachusetts from Texas.
That's got to be a bit of a culture shock.
It is. There's some of it I still miss. I was there for 18 years. I had a lot of really good friends and a supportive community, but I also, my life wasn't quite going where I thought it would go, and nothing sort of seemed to fit right. And, you know, I mean, it's the whole, like, you're like, am I neurodivergent? I mean, I think being trans and not knowing that you're trans is a form of neurodivergence. Did
your transition start in Texas, or did you leave Texas?
It started in Texas. And it actually, I've realized it started happening when I started to love my feminine side, because I always hated my feminine side secretly. Like, I played it up and I tried to make it cool, but like I I didn't really love it, and then when I started like really loving myself, that was when the guy side started coming out.
For a lot of us, and I'm speaking from personal experience here,
I love it, though.
that loving yourself piece is really hard.
It is.
Was there a point where you realized this is something I need to work on, this is something I need to change?
I don't know if I had to change the voice. So I've been so I'm not a gamer, but I've been obsessed a little recently with the idea of the 20-sided die, where if you're I don't want to say boy and girl because that's sort of essentialist, but if you're thinking about it from one standpoint, there's the integrity of the whole die, right? And then on the other hand, there's the face of each face that you have to respond to. And I think in mainstream culture, the more masculine side is to look at the faces, and the more feminine side is to consider the entirety of the die.
More holistic.
Right. So I think those of us who grew up in the wrong gender have this sort of weird advantage of having to compensate by looking at it the other way. So I really want to look at the different faces, but the faces don't make sense unless I consider the whole. But similarly, if you understand the whole, then you can understand that one face faces where it needs to, and sort of understand, I guess, kind of control a little bit more of the way that you're presenting yourself in different situations.
No,
so, there's a bit of almost a code switching to it. And that's what I found. I think I tend to want to be more of a leaper, and I felt terrible about being a leaper because I felt like I should always plan things out, and then I would feel bad about not planning things out, but then I'd get in an emergency and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm your person. It's all sort of come together. I'm sure there's a lot more to learn, but this is my second Pride this year. It's my first year knowing that I'm trans.
This next conversation comes with a warning. If you are triggered by the sound of unexpected bluegrass music, please skip ahead about a minute when you hear the banjo start.
I don't know if this is your partner's situation, but I find parades a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm more of the more extroverted of the two. Yeah, her and I have been together for a very long time. I've only been out for a short period of that time.
Put some numbers to that.
Well, I met her roughly 25 years ago, and we've been married for 19 of those. And as I was figuring things out again, and because I was so repressed, and I didn't even think about it. When things started coming back out and coming up as to who I was trying to figure out who I was, she was the first person I started talking to about it. And honestly, because of the way we live our lives, we have always been committed to being equals in our relationship, and that it was always going to be equals as individuals in the relationship, but together. And there's a little bit of an age gap between us, and I wanted to make sure, since I'm older, that she had a chance to learn who she was as we were going through our relationship.
Right.
Because I felt that is so unfair to do to anybody. And giving her the room, and then she turned around and gave me the room. And
was there a process of education involved in that, or did she pretty much already know?
Well, I came out originally as a cross-dresser. Okay. And I was adamant going just a cross-dresser. It's all about the clothes. And can't be anything more, right? No, we're learning together. Yeah. I had joined an online support site because I figured that's probably the best thing to try to figure out. It was about 43 when I started figuring things out and starting to think about it, but it took me a really long time. I don't move fast, and I like to think. And I wanted to also make sure she had room to go through, and we moved slow. Yeah. And then one day she said, I'm never going to be able to be comfortable with this unless you start. And that's been the biggest thing, being able to say, as long as we can start that, and moving.
And And then the communication along the way is in the moment rather than some abstract.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't go all of a sudden going, hey, I'm now Michelle, and this is going to be what it is.
Yeah.
It was really a slow evolving process for both of us, and in that time she got a chance to figure out where she needed to be. It wasn't just my transition. It was so important to me that she found her way, because that is how our relationship has always been. As even when we got married, her dad had passed away a few years prior to us getting married, so she was trying to figure out about walking somebody down the aisle. So we came up with the idea of meeting and walking down together and showing our family and friends that we are going into this as equals and as partners. And that is where we still work at. Yeah, we're like every other couple. We argue, we fight.
Sure.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, hey, you didn't put the dishes away, that kind of stuff. The trans stuff hasn't really become an issue. The only thing she had said to me is, don't go out until you're ready, and don't, figure it out.
Yeah.
And,
do it in a way that's safe, both physically and emotionally.
Absolutely.
That you're not putting yourself at risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as I've come out, I still haven't changed my views about my partnership with her, and that's what keeps me going with things.
I am so delighted to hear that story, because for a lot of trans women, that isn't the story.
I know.
It's for the vast majority. I think it's probably fair to say.
Absolutely.
And so that to hear, we work it through, we communicate, we love.
Right.
It makes me happy.
She figured out her sexuality. I took longer to figure it out, in the sense of, what does this really mean? And at the end of the day, it's just that we just so enjoy being with each other that it's nice to have another source of joy in our lives. And this year was her first year marching with us. I marched, last year was my first year marching in Pride.
Wonderful. Is this with a group? Or?
I was marching with Unity of Springfield.
Oh.
And I was fortunate enough to know some folks and was able to join them for the march. And I asked them if I could march with them again this year, and they were like, of course. And my partner said, I'd like to march because of everything going on. I want to show as an ally and a member of this community that I'm here. And it was amazing. And just awesome to see her be able to do that. Again, it's a sign. It's that the space, Claire, is really what it is, and finding that way to make sure we spend time together.
I did the same thing for decades. There were very few people I could talk to about it, but those I did, I insisted it was cross-dressing. And in part, for me, that was because I knew who I was, but I couldn't see any way of getting there, so I settled on that. I guess this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
But I think it says something about the culture we live in, that it's fine, that's what I am. Yes, I am.
I mean, I was a moderator and ambassador of that site that I was on at one point. I joined the sister site, which was for trans folk, to help them get it all set up, and I still insisted. I think it was up until last year I finally changed my profile even on that site, saying I'm a trans woman and I'm here as an ally. All folks, gender questioning, gender non-conforming, I'm your ally. And it's definitely a funny path we go down, going from the words just a, right? And then working our way to
this isn't,
and that moment for me was the first time with makeup, and I saw myself for the first time, and I think it was probably the first euphoric moment I ever had. And I will say it was very powerful, and the scariest super scary.
Yeah.
But it made me have to spend time and think and move forward. And now here, 3 years later, I've been out for 3 years publicly, and I haven't stopped.
My name is Sharisa Sterling. I changed my name in July of 1999, and for much of my life I've been a runner. I ran junior high school, and then through high school did cross country and indoor track and such. Sometime out of college, I joined a running club in my local area, 50 miles east of where I am now in Northampton, and I joined with my male name 40 years ago. And after I had my SRS, sexual reassignment surgery, of course, in Montreal, I came back and rejoined the running club, and I found so much acceptance in this running club. And now, after my change, I find it easier to talk to people, much more than in the past when I was much too quiet a person, just answering questions with yes or no. So my change really was the right thing to do for me. Thank you.
It's the holiday season, it's the end of the year, and everyone is asking for your money. Money that's in short supply. The last thing I want to do is add to the noise level. So, simply and quietly, please make a one-time or recurring donation. You can do it easily at transqat.com/donate. And if you're a queer-owned or queer-friendly business, sponsor some episodes. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Transqat.
So I actually watched all of Steven Universe with my fiance over the last month or so. We both kind of had a similar experience with it when we first watched it. The first time we both watched it, we were like, okay, first season's okay, but it's not really my thing. I went back to it a couple years later, and I absolutely love it. She had never revisited it, so I was very fortunate to get the opportunity to re-show it to her and just, like, see the magic happen. I was so excited to show her the movie because, like, she is very into, like, clowns and jesters and stuff, and the main antagonist, Manel, is just very clown-coded, and I'm like, you're going to love her, it's going to be amazing. But because it also deals with, like, trauma and stuff, it's difficult. My name is Hazel.
Hi, Hazel.
Hazel Fogarty. I am the HRAS lead for Smith College. I am also an artist. I work on indie horror video games. And I'm a member of River Valley DSA. I'm actually here at Holyoke Pride with two of my comrades. We just started a trans liberation working group a couple months ago, and we've got a few different projects that we're trying to get off the ground. The easiest one to explain is the recruiting project. That is why we are here at Holyoke Pride. We were also at Franklin Pride. So many LGBTQ folks, they are politically aware, but they're not politically activated. They're not politically organized. And I want to give them the opportunity to work with a group that I know can do a lot of great things, especially if they have, like, I'm an anarchist, but socialism is the first step. I don't know why half of the country is scared of socialism, because once you explain socialism to like even the most conservative person, like, they get it. My mom goes to gun clubs in Central Mass. Like, I have practice talking to these people. These are my people. I grew up there. And, like, I grew up thinking that socialism was all of the propaganda that we get told, like, it's gonna be like waiting in line for bread, sandpaper, toilet paper. Like, I've heard all of that stuff growing up. But I also have a fiance who is European, and, like,
and knows the reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because even though they're not fully socialist, so many of those countries have started that process of moving closer to socialism, and, like, even universal healthcare. Like,
yeah.
Your taxes pay for the healthcare, but that doesn't mean, like, the service changes. You're not waiting in line for hours any more than you'd be waiting in line for hours under capitalism. I've been in the waiting room for hours with employer insurance. Like, it's not different. It's also like, how much money are we spending on warfare right now that we're not spending on ourselves? Like, a bomb goes off, it's gone, and that's like, what, $1 million, $10 million gone?
Yeah.
How many college educations can that pay for instead? For a lot of people that I know who consider themselves conservatives, like, I know America first is like their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't we paying to actually treat the people in America as the first priority with healthcare, with education, stuff like that? I've thought about it for a lot. I've talked with a lot of people. I don't read a lot of theory. I talk with people because that is where my theory comes from.
This next voice is that of a friend. He and I have worked together on the Out Film Connecticut Committee for a few years now, and I knew that I was likely to get banter if I put him in front of the mic rather than deep conversation. So to prompt him, I asked him about his cats. I'm telling you this because we end the conversation with me being much more judgmental than I would ever be with a regular guest.
It's a place for queer people to tell their stories. It's a platform for the LGBTQ plus community, Transqat. We stand.
I couldn't help but notice that you said this is a place for
queer people.
For queer people to tell their stories.
That's what it says right there.
You refuse to tell your story.
What's my story? Like I said, it's hard to be me. It's a great challenge. Claire wants me to talk about my life challenges, but I don't have any. I mean, I have so many actually that it's overwhelming, and I don't want to frighten or make your audience cry.
But whatever your challenges are, you have cats to help you face them, Mark.
I have what to help
you? Have cats.
Oh, I do have 3 beautiful cats.
Tell me about them.
And they actually are a challenge because Trixie is my terrorist cat. She likes to get into everything and knock everything over and break things.
She's on some sort of government watch
She's
list.
just very hyper, although she's calming down a little bit. Then Rascal, my very skittish little boy cat, he likes to follow Trixie around and basically do what she does. And then there's the oldest, Petula, who is Trixie's sister, older by about a month. She's very laid back. She just kind of sits back and watches the mayhem ensue, and then goes in and sniffs around and picks up the rubble afterwards.
See if there's anything to be gained
from everything that the others have done.
So Trixie,
Petula, and Rascal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the last time I saw them on your social media feeds, they were wee tiny kitties.
They are. They're all over a year old now, so they're much bigger. Rascal really got big. I'm really surprised how big he got. Trixie was a really tiny thing, and she got pretty big too. So yeah, they're all fully grown now, and they eat a lot. I constantly have to feed them, and they love their treats. They love their wet treats, and they love their wet foods that they get for breakfast.
Oh, see, we reverse it. They get wet. They get dry in the morning and wet.
Well, they get dry food all day long. It's always in the dish.
Yeah.
But they have, they get a third of a can of wet, not Healthy Choice, not Taster's Choice.
Do not feed your cat.
Whatever the name of I always forget the name of the brand. It's the one that Lauren Bacall used to promote.
Wow, that's good enough for me.
I'm forgetting the name of it, but they get that.
Okay.
And they get wet treats in the evening. So yeah. They're well fed and well cared for. Yeah.
I've been thinking about getting one of those, wheels that they can get in and run on. But I know if I spend the money, they'll just look at it.
They'll look at it. When I buy stuff like that, they just stand and look at it. Best thing is a box.
Yeah.
A paper bag.
They're good.
Ribbons. They love playing with the ribbons and things like that. I have a lot of toys that they play with, and they run around and jump a lot. So I don't think they need that. They don't need any mechanical devices like that.
You see, it turns out you did have a story after all.
I did. Do your listeners really want to hear about that?
It was. I was going to say it was tedious, but still.
Okay. It was tedious. Well, you've known me a long time, and you know just how much tedium I bring into the world.
It's why we have you on the committee.
But I always bring tedium with a smile.
Weather played a significant role in Pride 2025. Most Pride events are scheduled for Saturdays, and here in the Northeast, weather patterns tend to fall into weekly cycles. So it was that torrential rains interrupted Hampshire Pride on May 3rd, and a brutal thunderstorm did the same for Middletown Pride on June 7th. Unreasonably gusty winds at North Adams Pride on June 20th lifted my pop-up tent into the air despite the weights I had on each leg and smashed it down against the curb. And no exaggeration, 3 tornadoes touched down in Worcester County during Worcester Pride on September 6th. My next guest, Sabrina, arrived at the Transqat tent in Middletown just as I was packing up my gear and heading for the car ahead of the rain. I couldn't say no to her, so we recorded as the storm intensified around us and as people fled for their lives. If you listen, you'll hear drops hitting the tent awning, which then progressively become sheets of water pouring off.
My name's Sabrina. I am a trans woman, lesbian, lots of reasons to be here. So I'm a software engineer up through like my first year and a bit of college. You know, in the back of my head, I always knew there's something going on. When I was thinking about queer stuff, it was always like, oh yeah, that's people that are like me in some way, but then I'd be like, what do I mean by that? And then seeing a guy and being like, could I like guys? Is it me? Could I be gay? And I'm like, I don't seem to like guys. That doesn't make any sense. Anytime I thought of relationship stuff, always being, how am I going to relate to people like in a relationship? How am I going to be in that role of the guy in the relationship? It made no sense, but I do like girls. So what's going on here? And that in the background, trying to figure it out. I remember a couple interesting things like in middle school at one point. It kind of feels like people have some sort of separate from their gender, like a masculine or feminine thing. And it's weird because I feel more feminine even than some of the girls, and it just doesn't make sense. But I played the role and I did the things and convinced my mom for 27 years that I was the perfect son. College, basically, it's really funny because I just stumbled into it because over the last couple of years become more aware of what trans people actually were. Kind of like, oh, there's that T in LGBT. I support it unquestioningly because I support all like LGBT people,
but not an actual connection to what that T meant.
Because all I really knew was as a kid maybe like dad saying some things. I remember at some point as a kid kind of like this thing like eccentric rich people do because a sex thing.
Wow.
Because also as a kid I'm thinking they just go to the doctor, one vagina please, and just walk out.
We should be able to do that through Amazon. I think I should just be able to
2-day
go
delivery.
to Amazon. Yeah, please. I would one vagina. I'm returning some other parts. that I don't need.
But so then like I slowly became aware of what being transgender actually was. One day I'm like sitting in my dorm and I'm reading this article, and if the reasoning was not sound honestly, but it got me to start thinking. Because I was reading this article and it was talking about like I think it was like a video game that had female protagonists. Like little girls will be able to look up to her and they'll see themselves in this role. And I'm like, is that really true though? Because I've always connected more with female characters. Is it just that women are more easy to connect with? Like something trying to figure out why is it that doesn't make sense? It's good for like feminism, so why would I argue it? And then literally just as I'm about to move on, unless I was trans and kind of laughed to myself, it was like, that would be an explanation. And then I was like, huh?
Yeah, now that door is open, I'm going to have to at least peek in that room and see, is this someplace
So I started thinking about it. Oh, this is actually true. I'm like definitely not a guy. Like, am I a woman? And there's a lot of difficulty around accepting, especially at a time I mostly had heard things through the lens of the identify as a. I felt like I had to identify with the word already for that to be true about me.
Yeah.
And so, like, very, very much was like, well, if I think about it, like, it doesn't feel like that word applies to me. And then I kind of got deeper on it. Maybe it's more so it doesn't feel allowed. Like, I'm allowed to have that label. Then, basically, because, like, I can't just say something about this. And then, because I was afraid of, like, how do I walk it back? It just very much also, like, playing off of a lot of just PTSD things of, oh, like, I need to be acceptable. I need to do the thing that's, like, okay. And I need to know it's going to be okay before I can do anything. Well, let me make sure this is for real before I like risk anything with this. Let me figure this out online. But at the same time, I had this fear of, and this is me always trying to justify things to my parents. If they find out that like I'm like talking to other people online, they're gonna be like, oh, they coerced you. So like I need to prove them wrong on that by never asking anyone about this stuff directly. And I'm just only gonna look at like official like medical literature, and so it didn't go well. I made a Twitter account with the name that my mom said she would have given me if I was born as a girl, and I replied to some famous people. I didn't tell any of my friends about it, so like nobody was interacting with me. And then I saw some tweets that I don't know if it was a legitimate thing that was happening at that time, if it was TERFs or like what, But some tweets that were like, oh, there's men on here pretending to be women and they're like claiming things or whatever. And I was like, I don't want people to perceive me, because especially like perceiving me as not just a man, but as a misogynist.
So increasingly, even though you're trying to get information and you're reaching out as best you can, you're finding yourself increasingly isolated.
Yeah, this is not healthy thinking I was doing. What if somebody finds his account and figures out his profile picture is just some like stock image that I edited, then tracks down that then all of a sudden it's targeted as like this, and so I deleted the account and got busy with school and like didn't have time to think about things, and it just sat in the background as this thing that like I knew was true when I stopped and thought, but I never had the space to think. So especially just like being neurodivergent and not knowing about it, not having the supports in place and like understanding for myself how to work with my brain, I just didn't have the space to get into those deep thoughts, and so all I could really do was just push them aside.
Now that you're out, now that you're living authentically, are you finding the support you need? Let's start with your folks.
Yeah, they've been all right, but they've not been great.
Okay.
I was very afraid to tell my dad, because he's been very much wrapped up in all of the politics of stuff and believing everything that is being told about. I hear him say things like awful things about trans people, just repeating things and saying like, I know my dad, I know he's not gonna like hurt me or anything, but then I'm like, but he's explicitly saying he wants to hurt people like me. So, like why is he saying it? And so then that made me kind of like, very scared to come out to him, especially. I guess the first kind of large hint that my family got of me being queer in some way was that I was going to Pride for work, and then on the day of, it's like, my mom's like, oh, I can give you a ride in. So I was like, I don't want to figure out parking stuff. I think I should take the ride from her, and I'm going to have to come out to her at some point, but I'm like, I'm hearing like prescription rainbow glasses. Yeah, and that led to some really interesting conversations. Because I was also, even after my mom had like seen me, dressed like that, I was kind of like, okay, so my mom's seen that. She's probably going to have some questions in her head, but she probably won't say anything to my dad or anything. And so then it's time for me to leave, and she's going to pick me up, and she's just like, oh, I'm busy, and she asked my dad to pick me up. So that led to a lot of discussions where he's like assuming at that point that I'm like a gay man. Yeah. And then like we had some conversation. He was really trying to like understand some of it, so he's trying to like be okay with it, and that led me to like be a little maybe too open with the ways that I like responded to it, where I essentially came out to him as a lesbian, in the sense that I said that he was asking about how people would like understanding how somebody could, that a man could men. And an example, I was like, well, because I don't really know like that side of things, just because like I only like women, and in that explanation. And then he's kind of like, oh, so you're straight, and I guess he was relieved, which was an unfortunate part of it. A few weeks later, my mom and my sister were like pressuring me, like, what are you, like, you seem like closed off about something, like, what is it? And so I came out to them. I was at my mom's house, and then I didn't do it, but they were like, clearly there was something, and so I was like, then they came to my house, and then I came out to them, and I kind of regretted it. They had a lot of more pointed questions. I was still in a lot of ways very like unsure about things and like scared, therefore kind of gave a lot of like compromising, kind of explaining things half true, because then I don't want them to like take that saying like, oh, I'm taking it really slow. But my mom's idea of slow is in 10 years I'll maybe consider starting it, or she not like I'd started it a month ago. Sometime around like October, I got this feeling of just like, I am ready, I just need to find a good moment to do it. And was in that state, kind of decided to stop, because I was really, really bogged down in like hiding. Like every aspect of my life was about like, oh, I need to go get the mail. Now I need to change. Like, am I going to go get the mail right now? My doorbell rang. Oh no, what do I do? Freeze. I need like a go bag in my kitchen so I can like change my clothes and run to the door. In this like, terrified, constantly like hypervigilant state. And I was just like, I'm done with that now. Like now that I'm kind of ready to tell him, ready for him to know, I don't feel like I need to like do all the steps to hide and everything. And so I started kind of changing my name on things in more places, and where it's like more risky. And then one of my packages was misdelivered to his house. Oh. And he sees the package, and it's got my address, and then it says like Sabrina on it. And so I wake up on Saturday morning to a text from my dad that says like, do you have a strange new alias? So I was like, kind of. And then that whole weekend I panicked. And then on Monday night, I responded over text and fully like came out. The next couple of weeks started girl moding around them, and then found that immediately, well, now that I girl mode around them, there's no such thing. There's no girl moding, there's no boy moding. I just am, it's good.
specifically trans vocalists and trans singers. I'm Nix. I use they, she pronouns. I am non-binary.
NIX or NYX?
NYX. I myself am a trans singer. I am trans femme, and my voice has dropped from puberty, and there's a few main issues with, as a trans singer, that I've actually found in the singing world. For example, with theater, I'm very limited to what repertoire I have. Not just due to, even when trying to sing songs that are sung by cis men, as a trans singer, what people don't understand, especially as a trans femme singer, is that trans voices are just trained differently.
Have you done any vocal training just as a trans person?
A little bit, mostly self-taught.
Because your voice is beautiful.
I found that voice lessons for singing helped me because it gave me better control over my voice.
Okay.
But now I don't know as much about trans masc vocalists, but as a trans femme vocalist, people oftentimes will not understand is that we rely a lot on our head voice, which makes songs. Do you know what head and chest voice are?
I don't. No.
Well, the voice is comprised of many different registers, such as vocal fry, which is the very bottom, or like there's vocal fry. You have chest voice, which is what we're speaking in right now, what the average person sings in. Then you have head voice, which is that higher part where you'll hear people try to sound like Mickey Mouse, like hi. And then you have whistle, which I'm very bad at whistle notes, so I'm not going to attempt them. Yeah. But trans femme vocalists oftentimes rely a lot on our head voice and falsetto, which is that higher part, for singing songs in the ranges where cis women would sing in, because it's a lot easier to access those notes in that area.
Who, in terms of whether cis or trans, who are the vocalists you aspire to be like?
I would love to be like, I forgot their last name, but Alexis of the band Destroy Boys, and I'm trying to think, what's her name? I love Hayley Williams, and there's a few more.
You are wearing a Led Zeppelin
I am aware.
T-shirt. Where does Robert Plant fit into that range of things? Could you do a decent Robert Plant?
I think I could do a decent Robert Plant, but it's going to sound very different.
Okay.
Just due to the way that both trans masc and cis men singers will navigate their range, is they're going to tend to purposefully sing with the lower larynx, and they're going to sing with an attempt to have a more masculine sound in general. So even at their higher range, it's going to be different.
This is Sadie McCarthy. I'm Claire's niece.
And you've just been listening to Transqat. It is made by one of my favorite people in the world, Claire McCarthy.
Transqat is a production of Transqat Enterprises, LLC.
Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
Join us on the web at transqat.com.
That's TRANSQAT.com.
QAT.com.
QAT.com.
There you'll find links to Transqat, the blog,
writing projects,
speaking engagements,
and our PayPal donations page.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monkeys.
Monies.
Your monies.
Your monies.
Not monkeys.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monies. Any monkeys will be gratefully received as well.
Follow Transqat on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
On TikTok, we are at The Real Transqat.
Want to tell your story on air?
Or ask Claire a question?
What is the deal?
She has all the answers.
Or suggest a guest or topic for an upcoming episode.
Use the contact page at the website
or email her directly at crmtranscat@gmail.com.
crmtranscat@gmail.com.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.